a fantastic honor to present another great guest. His experience portfolio includes many global brands, such as Kempinski, probably the oldest hospitality corporation founded in Germany in 1897, synonymous with distinctive luxury. Then Vienna House, which is the Austria's largest hotel group, and Meliá Hotels International, a Spanish hospitality giant which operates more than 390 hotels and resorts in over 40 countries. Tomislav, it's a great pleasure to meet you finally, and welcome to our video cast.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here.
And it's all highly appreciated by our students, our institution, and yours truly. So on that note, let me introduce you and our audience to our students who will run this interview today. Bruna Martinovic from Dubrovnik.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here.
Fantastic, Bruna. Thanks for joining us. And Sara Slabic from Slavonia.
Hello to everyone, and I'm also happy to be here as well.
Fantastic. So Tomislav, she comes from your neck of the woods, so a bit of a warm welcome for all of us. So without further ado, I will turn over the mic to Bruna, who will kick it off. Bruna, please take it away.
Thank you, Professor. Hello, Tomislav. I would like to start with a question. Could you tell us something about yourself? We know that you made your way from Slovenia to one of the top luxury hospitality brands, such as Kempinski and One&Only. Could you please give us a shorthand version of your career path?
Thank you very much. Well, from Slavonia, actually, via Slovenia.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, both is correct, actually. I have been working in Slovenia last 5 years before I actually came here. No, actually, I've studied in Osijek, again in Slavonia. I majored in marketing management, so in Croatia. I have to say that during the studies, so it's very far away now. I have to say, recently I was asked in my office, when did I graduate? And I almost fainted when I calculated. It was over 20 years ago. You never think that you are so old until you start really calculating. So at that time, yeah, I've studied in Osijek. I studied marketing management. That was my major, actually, marketing. And I always was interested, I have to say, in hospitality. But at this time, there was nothing similar in Osijek, and that was the only opportunity I had in terms of university, to be very frank. And for luckily, you have more choice now with all the possibilities to study abroad. At that point, you know, Croatia wasn't really at the place where you would go for a semester abroad, or so. Yeah, I have to say, after I finished my studies, I did use the opportunity to enroll myself to ISAC, actually. And I presume you know ISAC, the student organization, that I was never a member, I have to say, during my studies, although I did use the platform to start, let's say, my career in hospitality, as I arranged the international traineeship. So I moved to Tunisia directly as soon as I graduated. I think a few days later, I was on a plane going to Tunisia, to Tunis, where I had actually a traineeship in capital, in the Tunis. I was really interested to learn more about Arab culture. I've never lived in a Muslim country before, and to gain some work experience as well. So I actually worked there only shortly in the job that I interviewed in. And then I switched fastly to a local travel agency. I found another job there. What was great, it enabled me to learn French and to actually start. So I do speak French at this point, and a little bit of Arabic just for the market, you know, just to be able to argue for the prices. And actually, it was the start of my hospitality career. After spending a little bit than a year in Tunis, I decided it was time to come back to Croatia and start, looking for, I was already looking for a job to come back. And actually, Meliá was actually my first, let's say, hotel company. where I got the opportunity, and I was really thankful. I'm still thankful to Manuela Kraljevic, who was my boss then, director of sales and marketing. She's still actually the board member for Plaza Hotels now in Pula. And she actually gave me opportunity to start working in sales in hotel. And actually from there, it was very nice. It's an international company that was managing properties in Umag in Croatia. So I stayed there for 2.5 years, and out of the blue, I got a call from a headhunter from Vienna International saying that I have a position of sales and marketing manager. So I said, okay, marketing is something I studied, and I took the opportunity. And actually, I stayed there for over six years, a little bit over 6 years. So I'm quite loyal to the companies where I actually am. And I developed there as much as I could. I want to believe so. And then actually I wanted to move to more. I saw that actually I see myself more in luxury hospitality. And then Kempinski in Slovenia was actually looking for director of sales and marketing. So I applied there, and yeah, I stayed there until last year. And then from luxury, I mean, in Croatia, unfortunately, I have to say, we are still lacking beautiful brands, ultra luxury brands as a country. And I did want to grow further. And then One&Only coming to Europe, and it was a no-brainer, to be very honest. I would never think I would move to Montenegro, to be very honest. Often my colleagues say, how come you would decided to come to Montenegro? It wasn't Montenegro actually that attracted me, to be very honest. I'm very happy here now. However, it was the brand, and One&Only, as you probably know, is one of, well, I would say, handful of ultra luxury brands that operate in hospitality industry. So it was, well, honestly, a no-brainer. There's no better word to say so, to apply. And I'm really fortunate to be able to say that I'm now here and helming sales and marketing communications and reservations for the first One&Only property opening in Europe. So that was, yeah, that's generally it.
Thank you. So your current position is the sales and marketing at One&Only Portonovi. Could you please describe the property for us?
Well, we don't have enough time, but the property is definitely, the resort is said to be the really the landmark for this part of the world. And really, I'm not talking about Montenegro, but much further, much regional. Talking about, let's say, more closer here, I honestly believe there is nothing comparable on Adriatic coastline to the level of service, the product itself that we will offer starting from March 21st. The resort is, I'm really, as I say, super happy and excited to be here. And as I have been spending last 3 days presenting the property during the ILTM, and I will do next week on ILTM Americas, it's really difficult to put it in few words, but let's just put it this way. Incredible hardware. So starting from, so altogether 123 units. So it's not a small boutique hotel. For ultra luxury property, it's quite large. Within the number, we do have 12 stunning villas. And I have to say quite unique, because we are doing a benchmark recently with the villas. And even throughout Europe or globally, it's very difficult to find villas with direct and private beach. What our villas will have: private beach, private pool, private jetty, and it's a sandy beach. So it's actually quite unique product. From the hotel perspective, the rooms start with 66 square meters, what gives you actually the idea of space we are offering to our guests in the rooms themselves. Then we go into suites and villas further. But obviously, hotel is not only the rooms, it's also everything else within the hotel and around. But talking about property itself, we are offering 11 swimming pools for our guests to luxuriate by. We love to say to luxuriate by. So again, in this hopefully post-COVID travel times that are coming up very soon, from March 21st onwards, people are looking for more space and for more privacy. And then, having let's say 10 rooms per pool gives you really a lot of comfort and space, what is actually very good. On the other hand, spa is something really well, uncomparable again in the region. We are offering, we partnered up with Chanel. Chanel is a spa brand actually that operates with their own medical spas in Russia, Azerbaijan, Switzerland, Italy. So we are actually the first co-branding between the two beautiful brands, where Chanel will be managing our spa. It's a 4,000 square meter spa, 29 treatment rooms, medical team. So we have the doctor, the nurse, the nutritionist. As Chanel is offering, it's completely different approach to actually to spa and to well-being, where even though they have bases in Chinese medicine, so they develop the technique of well-being and the techniques of actually rejuvenation that is rooted in Chinese medicine, but upgraded, let's say that way, with the modern technology. So it's a lot about technology, not a lot about Western technology with roots in Chinese medicine. So we will offer this medical spa to our guests throughout the whole year, as the resort is operating 365 days. There is obviously, you know, whole coastline of Adriatic, well, Mediterranean as well, is very seasonal. However, this is something we are really trusting in for our low season. And on the other hand, for the guests, for the guests who will be using full Chanel programs, they will have special BioLite diet. But for those who just come for standard, let's say, relaxation, we will be offering also our F&B offer is also quite unparalleled. With Sabia, our Italian restaurant, managed and thought by Giorgio Locatelli, who is Italian Michelin star chef, as well as Master Chef. I think they have the TV show that he's actually heading, the Master Chef Italy, but also he has his Michelin star restaurant Locanda in London, then in Dubai, and now in Montenegro with us. Obviously, La Veranda is our all-day dining that will serve all the regional dishes, breakfast, and also the third unique, actually, I would say really, really unique thing is our Japanese tapa-style restaurant, Tapasake. So Tapasake is a restaurant and a pool club that will be adults only, I have to say. Resort is, and One and Only in general, is very family friendly. However, it's also known for the life and energy. So it's going to be more for, for the people who came to enjoy more energy and life than everything else. So with DJs, a little bit more party atmosphere, and then incredible Japanese food. Done by Japanese chefs, and all the stuff actually in Tapasake is Asian. We have the same for Sabia, it's an Italian restaurant. Generally, our chef for Sabia is from Italy, but he came from London, from Locatelli. So they combine actually both of the brand that they're representing and then the culture they're putting in the food. So it's definitely going to be a new gourmet hotspot, I would say, on the Adriatic coastline, as it is quite, I would say, unique at this point. So, I mean, what else to say? One and only service and all the other, and the things that make One and Only special actually is also the experiences. Every One and Only offers unique experiences that are unobtainable otherwise, I would say. That's a nice word, unobtainable, and something that our guests would not be able to do should they be staying in a private villa or somewhere else. So just an example of one of those experiences, we will be offering for our guests possibility to have, should they be into swimming and maybe a little bit more sporty, as we say that we are nautical playground being located in Boca and protected from the open seas. We have a deal with the Montenegro national water polo team where our guests will be able to join their practices. So to have a training with the national water polo team is also something for up to 2 persons. So not to disturb the training too much, but also from that to we have Mr. Kulinovic, who is actually ultra trail athlete from the region, who actually will do tailor-made programs for hiking around the mountains, around Orion Mountain that is just above us. There is also something specific. 2 our tennis courts that are managed by Mr. Janko Tipsarevic, who I presume you've heard of, a Serbian ATP player, so that our guests will have the chance to have a match, tennis match with the ATP player. So because at the end in ultra luxury property, our guests expect something that they can't have every day. Generally they do, this type of guests, generally they do have everything that we might imagine, but when they come here, we need to provide them with something. And then on the other hand, as this region is also very influenced by rich culture. Also, we want to celebrate the culture of Montenegro and the region. So we have one of the experiences again is where we take our guests with obviously always with a private speedboat, with a private guide to see the Lady of the Rocks at Kotor, Perast being UNESCO heritage sites of Montenegro, but also we take them to a home of a family. Our family is called Milosevic family, and it's an old, it's a family that owns a castle-like house or old stone manor, I would say, in in Parchan, in one of the villages around Kotor, and the house is there forever, for generations. And actually, the lady is the historian, and the gentleman actually is a singer as well. And they invite them to their home to give them, well, to try a little bit of Montenegro in terms of some local food, but also to give them an experience to talk about the culture of Montenegro with a local historian who is local from there, in their own home, where the gentleman will also sing a little bit for them. So it's really, the experience that people want to have, the ones who want to experience really the local. And this is actually, you see the local architecture in their beautiful home that is museum-like actually. They're both perfectly fluent English, what is great for our guests. So we will have the guide with them all the time, just in case it's necessary. And then maybe one more, because I'm really excited about these experiences, but I want to take so much time. But also we want to bring the recent culture as well. So Tito is actually really a big part of the history of the whole region. And also one of the experiences I actually tried it recently and I was very much impressed, where you have one of the Tito's cars. So here in Podgorica, one gentleman actually owns a Rolls Royce that was in Tito's car fleet. And it's really cool. It has air condition, and it's from 70s. I was surprised because I was like, the guy said, "Would you like air condition?" I said, "My God, that existed like in 70s." So our guests will be picked up with Rolls Royce. That was Tito's car where he sat in, and then they would be taken there is Tito's villa in Igalo. So one of the villas, as Brioni or several others points in throughout ex-Yugoslavia. So there is a Tito's villa in Igalo that unfortunately is not very well maintained. It's museum-like, but it's not really good maintained. And it was made for Tito when he was actually already, let's say, by the end of his life, in order for him to have therapies here, because Igalo is famous for the healing mud. And so it's really incredible, the technology that they have. And it's really cool to connect with what we are offering with hydrotherapy, for example, in our spa, and the technology that is there, because all of these German-made products, I have to say, are still there as they were in the 70s. So they get the experience to visit, obviously privately. This villa is normally available for the guests, but for our guests, it will be privately booked for their visit with a guide. And then afterwards, we take them on the top in Savina, in Herceg-Novi, where there is a small, beautiful boutique winery called Savina, just to try a little bit of Montenegrin delicacies after that. So it's really to bring in the region and to give the sense of place to our guests, because at the end, these guests are very well traveled. They have visited a lot of things in the world, and Montenegro is something that is still on to-do list for many of them. But when they come here, they have to see what is this all about. And and Yugoslavia and Tito, and well, at the end, all of the history is part of this place, and we need to celebrate it and show it to the guests. So I hope I gave you an idea of what One and Only Montenegro will be all about.
Yes, you definitely did. I thank you very much for your answer. And I have to say that's quite an amazing offer that your guests are being provided with. So for the next question, can you please explain to us how you see the strategic geography of the sending markets, and also what sales channels do you rely on exactly?
Okay, well, as again, we are all we all know that all coastal towns throughout Adriatic are very seasonal. That obviously works for us as well, and I mean, will be our case as well. We do have to, we actually see, and I see my resort and our resort as a two-season property, and this is how we will manage also our tone of voice on our website, on our communication in social media, and in all marketing, where on one hand, during the winter time, we will be speaking, so let's say from October to April, we will be speaking more about the spa, the Chenot, the offering we have, and all of the winter offering, let's put it, all the experiences you can do. So it's not about sailing, it's not about swimming, it's about bringing yourself or coming back to yourself, taking care of yourself. You know, it's now time of healing and recovering globally, I think. So it will be more wellness related, where we'll convey and convert our communication to more wellness like storytelling, I would say. And then we are aiming more for the guests from the region, and but mainly from Russia and CIS, as at the end, excuse me, at the end, Chenot is very present in with their clinic in Moscow and Azerbaijan. They're very well known in Russia. And on the other hand, we have to leverage on the fact that Montenegro is very well known in Moscow as the destination, much more than anything else in Russia and generally CIS. And there is a huge Russian community here. And believe it or not, Tivat Airport, before COVID, so we all expect it will come back, used to have 3 flights daily to Moscow. So it's incredible. I mean, Zagreb doesn't have that, or Podgorica doesn't have that. So there is really a huge Russian community who knows Montenegro very well. So the market knows Montenegro well, and they know Chenot very well, because Chenot is really a specific, unique product and the brand. It's not your regular blend like Guerlain maybe, or something that let's say regular people would relate to. It's more for the people who are well-wellnessed and who are actually really, who have done their research and know what they're looking for. So for October to April, our winter season is all about the spa, is all about what you can do on property, and it's all about the guests themselves and their well-being. And the geo-targeting will be focused on Russia to start with. So due to all the things like that, and due to connectivity at the end, because at the end we are very flight dependent. This is not a car destination. The same as Dubrovnik in Croatia. Istria, on the other hand, you don't need flights. You have really huge pool of people around you from South Germany to Austria to North Italy. Here, actually, we are very well dependent on the flights. So these are the markets. So region, and then market, and Russia as the key market for the winter. While in summer, we are moving a little bit more, let's say, to the west, where Russia still remains as our key market. But we are moving a little bit more to Western Europe, where UK is definitely our key market in West Europe. Then everything else, Switzerland, Germany, Austria, Scandinavia. And then in year 2 or 3 of operation, I aim to have actually quite a huge impact of US guests. US, I say in year 2 or 3, is because of the fact that I think generally it would be opinion, but definitely it is my opinion that US is not a target we should be expecting next year, as it will take a little bit more, I think, time for US to recover, at least in the numbers that used to be here.
Definitely, thank you. So as for the next question, we have to say that we imagine that in your work, you're being pretty preoccupied with not just conveying an image of quality, performance, and authenticity, but also with attempting to sell an experience by relating it to the lifestyle of travelers who come from various demographics. So the main question is, how do you create value proposition to create significant differentiation for various segments? For instance, romantic young couples, vacationing families, elderly people, and etc.
Well, as said, it's all about providing the right experience to the right guest. So within the resort, as I said, on one hand, we will be offering the Pasake Pool Club that is all about life and energy, that is adults only. On the other hand, we have 10 other pools that are available for our families with kids clubs, teens clubs, babysitting. So there is really, the resort itself offers the wide variety of experiences and offer for different targets. However, the point what we need to do and what we are doing is not, it's not only actually about following the trends and following, it's actually about creating trends. And this is actually what we want to do. We want to become the most fashionable destination on Adriatic. And we want actually to create the demand that people want to be here. When people want to be here, this is what we really, this is our primary target. Then it's easy to, to align with them. What exactly do they need once, we know that. So this is actually, it is creating, becoming the place to be. And then everything else, it's easy.
Thank you, Mr. Tomislav. That was a nice insight into what you do with your guests. As we have different definitions of luxury depending on the eyes of the beholder, how much realistically can we actively involve clients in co-creating their unique luxury travel experiences? Is it something that we can address already at the sales and the marketing stage?
Absolutely, and absolutely we have to. So I think it's paramount to have open and clear communication, because people, the guests in generally, they really generally know what they want, and we have to be very clear with that what we are offering at our giving. There is no room for mistake, because every guest is unique, and every guest actually is valuable, and we really understand this with One&Only. So yes, clear and open communication, because every chance is a chance, every communication always is a chance to sell and to upsell, actually. So before the guest decides, we have social media, we have our website, we have all of our communication we are doing. We are still using, also being a ultra luxury property, also print media. I know it's something that a lot of my colleagues and brands are stepping away a lot from print and moving into digital. What is, let's say, the normal flow of development of the world, of the communication, of marketing in general? But for ultra luxury, we're also a little bit present also in print still. So there is this, before the guest decision, we need to be able to reach those guests we need and to influence them a little bit on where they need to go next. So as said, press, media presence, print, digital, social media, and then during the bookings, during the reservation process itself, we can actually really then mold the experience of every guest and really tailor-made to their needs. The same goes in our company, in general, in One&Only, and it will be the same with One&Only. We do rely on tour operators and travel agents and private concierges quite a lot. So for us, it's also communication with the agents, because in many cases, we don't have direct access to the guests before they come to property. So it's actually also all the communication that we do, and the trainings and experiences we are providing to concierge companies and to the agents who are talking to the final guest as well. And at the end, to mold the whole experience is finally, once we have the guests on property, so we start with, let's say, with the reservation process, but then with pre-arrival communication, because we need to know everything about our guests before they arrive. So we know when he comes that in the car, we don't have, I don't know, sparkling water, or we don't have champagne because this guest is let's say, non-alcoholic or hates this or that. So we need to know all of this. And we need to know it in order to mold the experience for the guest. So every part of the guest journey, from when he started to think where he will go next, to the pre-arrival communication, to at the end on-site marketing, is chance to upsell, to sell first and then to upsell, and to provide the perfect experience for the guest and the revenue for the hotel. Because at the end, it's on one hand the guest, the experience, on the other hand is the revenue we have to create, as this is a business as well.
Thank you. So as for the next question, you kind of already partially answer it, but as it comes to the sales and marketing, what can we do to personalize it and make it more meaningful and authentic for the customers? And in addition to this question, what is also the role of technology in this process as well?
Well, technology is super important in all of our life aspects at this point. I think if the world would shut down, we would be, at least for a while, more than with COVID, if technology would disappear. Yes, but it's bringing brand closer to the guest is actually the first thing we have to do. How, because you said how to make it more meaningful or authentic for the guest. It's first to bring the brand to the guest, because One&Only represents a certain promise to the guest. And this promise needs to be very clear communicated, and it needs to be brought to the guest. And the technology is super important here, as I mentioned, social media, the digital and everything. But for example, I would put our at-home campaign that was, well, that my colleagues or the brand did during the COVID times now, where actually it was more focused on how to bring One&Only to your home, because we know you can't travel, you can't come here, but then we want to give you a little bit of One&Only at your own home. So we had numerous articles and shares and different kind of posts that were related on how to have One&Only experience home, because you can't come to us. And then technology is paramount. Or for example, we are doing an event with Giorgio Locatelli, actually at the beginning of the year, where he will be preparing a dish. It will be filmed. It will be live streamed for selected number of people, not for everybody, but for a selected number of opinion makers, press, just as a pre-launch of Sabia, of restaurant. Well, we will be sending a care pack, let's say, or a pack to every person's home who will be actually invited to participate in this event. So it's fully online. Georgia will be cooking in Montenegro in the kitchen. They will get a big box of their address a few days before with all the ingredients for this event, a bottle of wine to enjoy and everything that we'll cook. And they will be cooking together from the comfort of their home. But they will be tutored online and explained by Giorgio Locatelli. What is very personalized, it's a Michelin star chef who talks directly to you. You will be able to communicate with him because it will be a handful of people. So it's not 2,000 people streaming and looking at it. So you will be able to communicate it. But then again, we can't do it without technology. And this is definitely bringing a brand directly to somebody's home. And at the end, all of these people will then experience One&Only at home. So I hope I answered this. Yeah.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Thank you. Upon the next question, we imagine that selling luxury experiences is a very dynamic process. Could you explain how do you decide upon online marketing strategies and online marketing activities and social and sales strategies in order to increase revenue?
I have to say we have to act like we already told, as we did. And that's it. We just need to communicate the emotions and the feelings you get while you're here. And then there is no actually specific strategy you need to follow. You need to have it as it's sold. And at the end, because you're providing something they can't buy anywhere else. So that's actually our strategy, just to communicate exactly what they will get when they were here. And that is it.
Thank you. We obviously cannot skip the topic of social media and social media influencers. How much do you think they shape the luxury travel market, and how do you cooperate with them?
Some of them are definitely important. It's a super important aspect of hospitality today, of everything today. Opinions are created, the companies are celebrated or destroyed with some opinions of somebody. So it's definitely a very important segment of our business. However, one should be very careful when choosing an influencers to host, especially to host. I mean, I know it's a big issue with in our industry currently, hospitality industry, where people are getting hosted to promote you, and we have to say here really, really, really selective in order to see who would be host, who would be actually invite. Obviously, everybody can book and pay for themselves and do what they want. I mean, this is, I mean, absolutely available and open. But in order of hosting and selecting, it's really finding the right influencers, really the key opinion leaders, let's put it that way, who talk to our audience. So yeah, I would say that we are super selective, super careful, and invite really, but we do work with social media and with the media influence, with social media influencers, because it's unavoidable, I would say. But really, we are really selective.
Thank you. So for the next question, in order to create a luxury destination, we need a much broader infrastructure than just hotels. So by this, we mean we need upscale local businesses, service management standards, robust supply chains, qualified and stable workforce, and etc. As we know that you worked in high-end operations in Slovenia, Croatia and Montenegro. So we are aware of the fact that there are some similarities, but also notable differences between these three luxury destinations. So how do you see these contrasts?
It's a lot of points that you stated in your question. From supply chains to stable workforce. I mean, I have to say that, yes, there is a lot of similarities. And there is a lot of differences as well. I think at the end, the luxury destination, you're right. It's more, it's broader than just hotels. Definitely, with One&Only, we always try to create amazing experience on property, so that we are not so dependent what's happening around. However, obviously, we want to celebrate where we are, and I think this is something that we as a region should do as well. Between the three countries you mentioned, it's definitely region is the same, and there is really a lot of similarities. However, each can really work on celebrating its own uniqueness, and this is what actually we need to what we need to do, and how the whole three countries should work together. You know, in working together, however, celebrating the differences. Yeah, so the contrasts, just to finalize, the contracts do exist, but we have to use those contracts as actually the driver of the difference between the all three countries.
Definitely, thank you.
You. And the unskippable topic of 2020, unfortunately, COVID-19, it is not helping local businesses as we know it, and it is bringing more social tensions. How do you think that luxury travel markets will be affected by these disruptions on the sending and receiving sites?
Yes, unfortunately, unavoidable COVID. Yes, and unfortunately, I have to say, I just read the papers or the digital version of Croatian newspapers saying that it's not a good day today in Croatia as well. So unfortunately, it's still not going down. But yes, it definitely disrupted the whole world. It definitely disrupted the hospitality industry. However, luxury travel remains. Luxury travel, I think, definitely is least impacted with all of this. As yes, the whole global disruption has touched many businesses, I mean, all the businesses, I would say, some positively like Zoom. I'm sure that this is, or all the pharma, you know, they're really having a time of their lives at this point in terms of revenues. However, in terms of travel industry and hospitality industry, the luxury travel remains. The people are looking forward to go back to traveling. Here in Montenegro during this summer, so we didn't open this summer, but there was countless private jets. The people were actually coming with private jets that was allowed, and they had a different kind of COVID regulations. So the luxury travel remains, and the people are looking forward. And as soon as the restrictions, the only question is just the quarantines and potential getting strangled somewhere. That's the only concern luxury traveler has at this point. And again, by participating ILTM last week, talking to the travel agents, and obviously it's a subject that you mentioned with everybody. How are they doing and how are they compared? They say, well, we are only doing Maldives and Dubai now, because Maldives is the only country where luxury travel actually exists. Maldives is open to everybody. You can come with testing. You don't need a quarantine upon return or arrival. So Maldives and Dubai are really now the two destinations that are open at this point, that are actually working. So for receiving side, it all comes to the flights, to the legislation. The same for the sending, but luxury travel was affected the least, I would say. What is good for me for next year?
Great. And for the final question, where do you see the regional travel industry in 2013? And also, what strategies should we adopt to cater to luxury travelers? And can you also name us some areas where we need to improve significantly?
Okay, where do you see us as regional travel industry? Okay, and talking about region, I would say, I would mention there's three countries here, let's say the Adriatic, Slovenia, Montenegro,
Yeah.
Croatia. The thing what we need to improve definitely is the infrastructure. I mean, the infrastructure. Well, talking about roads in Montenegro, that's actually the very down part of the country, what is not case in Slovenia, for example. However, the infrastructure in general, accessibility, especially talking about the luxury travel, it's not, I mean, we need to be accessible as well. Yes, the airports should be better. The access should be better. They need to be, we should have more frequent flights. And I'm not talking about low costs, because luxury and let's say the luxury travelers would not use low costs. So we need to improve our infrastructure. And I think this is actually the only thing that I think it's crucial. And I know that sometimes things look better with neighbors and the grass is always greener on the other side. But, you know, at the end, I think it's important to say that we always become who we think we are. And that's also something very important. I think that the region suffers also from a little bit of this opinion that grass is always greener on the other side. I think we need to value a little bit what we have here, because we have beautiful, beautiful region. We have incredible mountains from the Alps in Slovenia to beautiful Durmitor in Montenegro. I mean, not to mention the inlands. I mean, I'm from Slavonia, that is completely undiscovered in, well, in any luxury travel, definitely doesn't exist, but any kind of travel. I mean, Baranja, on the other hand, is something, but there is no infrastructure. I mean, it's difficult to have people come there. That's the problem. So the infrastructure is one thing. The second thing is our own state of mind, I think, because in this region, and also I said, it's often an opinion the grass is always greener on the other side, and let's just leave it as it is. We can't do better. So I think we need to, because I really do believe that we all have, all the region has the ability and has all the assets needed to become a really ultimate luxury region. So I'm not talking about the country, not Croatia, Slovenia, Montenegro. I'm talking about the region itself, because we do have stunning nature. We are actually perfectly located climate-wise, geography-wise. You know, we have the whole world around us. So there is no reason why not to. It's just a matter of putting a little bit more effort as an infrastructure, but also in the mindset itself. So that would be it.
Thank you very much.
All right, so thank you very much. This was a quick tour de force. Tomislav, thank you so much for sharing this wealth of information with us. And I think I would like, if I can say, I would like you to put us on the list for maybe another round of interview in about a year's time after you open.
See how it all went.
All right, so we would like to check on you. We would like to see where you are and how things run. We definitely.
No, absolutely. And what I would suggest actually that we do the same thing, but we do it from Montenegro, because I think that would be actually better. I think that first the ladies here and yourself come to see it by yourself, and then maybe to give a little bit more, because I think it would be nice to do it in a beautiful setting, you know, of One and Only Portonovi.
I think that would be wonderful. And also maybe to do some shots at the resort, just to be able to show it, to present it. I think it would be wonderful. From what you shared with us, it's like a, I don't know, Battleship Galactica landed in, in the region. I would definitely like to see it. So thank you. I would like to thank Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Wonderful.
No problem, Professor.
And thank you, Bruna.
Thank you.
Right, and I would like to thank once more to the one and only Tomislav Hrala from One and Only Portonovi. Thank you so much, Tomislav.
No, thank you as well, Bruna and Sarah, for really interesting questions. I hope I managed to answer. If not, Domagoj has my contact, so feel free to ask further. And Domagoj, thank you for hosting me, and it was really a pleasure. And definitely what I said, I really mean it. Let's do it. Let's do it in a year time. And in the same, you have to bring Sarah and Bruna as well.
Right.
Let's just do it from Montenegro. It's not far away, really. It's easy drive.
I think we have a date. It's a date.
Perfect.
We look
All
forward.
right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you for
everybody.
the opportunity.
Yes.
Have a
Thank you.
great day. Bye.
You
Bye.
too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.